Welcome to my permaculture plot. This is John Metcalf and this is my APSO project. And I'd like to take you on a little tour around my little bit of paradise, just to show you what I've been doing over the last 6 months, and hopefully you'll like it, guys. So this is zone 0. Right there you see a little worm home or worm bin that my friend Giuliano made. I've got to get rid of that, that's an old oil burner. Right here is some cosmos, and we've also got some lamb's quarter. I've just let this grow freely, but look how beautiful these cosmos are. They've really taken off with very little water. They've just been surviving on rainwater. And over here was my existing shed. So that's been there for quite some time. Over here I've got a little little chest of drawers where I store some of my stuff, and I can also pot on there. Here I've got a very old wheelbarrow which I am gonna put something in, but I'm yet decided what that's going to be. And right here, this is onto zone 1. So this is the first structure I built. This was to come off the existing shed and to harvest more rainwater. Inside I've got my worm baths. They're going quite nicely at the moment. I've got the jars there that I use for soil testing, and obviously cosmos down the side here as well. And then these are my kitchen garden raised beds. So down this one I've got some tansy, I've got onions, I've also got some carrots in there, I've got kale, I've got chard and some broccoli, and right at the end there I've got some rosemary. So they're doing really well. As you can see, the difference between those, which are really high, which get sunlight most of the day, and then this side, which is very shaded by my Victorian plum tree. That's something I didn't take into account completely, so that's a learning point. And then over here I've got my second bed. This has got my brassicas, it's got some sage in it, I've got broccoli there, I've got onions. I'm going to plant some spinach a bit later on, in a few months' time, and I've got some tansy down there as well, which is really cool. And then on to the third bed. So in this bed I've just got kale and chilli. I've got these ones called chocolate chilli. I planted them about 2 weeks ago. They're taking a little time to get going, but I hold up hope for them. And then on to the piece de la resistance, we have my food forest. So if I step back, you'll be able to see my glorious plum tree. She's got to be about 20 years old, I reckon. Down here I've got all my ground cover. I've got gorse, you can see right there. And then I've got some comfrey over there, and all these nitrogen fixers, all the ground cover, are really doing a great job for the trees there. And then over here I've got my pear tree. Now I had a bit of a problem. Unfortunately my neighbour's shed panels in the wind blew onto my plum tree, my pear tree, sorry, and pushed it right over, destroyed one of the branches. So I had to saw that off, and I'm really hoping that that's going to be okay, because it was quite, yeah, it looked pretty serious. And then if you can see my little path that goes round the actual food forest there, right in there I've got my other plum tree. This is my dwarf, and I've got some burdock down there, which is really nice. Raspberries haven't done too well. I probably haven't mulched enough around there, but that's okay. They'll keep on until next year. Got some more raspberry plants, more ground cover all the way down there. That's covering that first swale up. Then I've got my blackcurrant, or one of them. I did take some, but it looks like the birds have had the rest, but that's okay. Got to share these things out. And there's my cherry tree right back here. That's my beautiful cherry tree. She's doing quite well. I obviously planted her this year, and I hope that she takes off next year. And I've got my grapevine here. That's going to climb up that branch that I've stuck in the ground, and then it's going to form like an arch. That's something I've added onto my design. And then I've got my rhubarb down there, more lamb's quarter, more rhubarb over there. Then I've got my hardy kiwi down there, and my other blackcurrant. Again, the birds have stripped all the blackcurrants, but again, that's okay. And then through my pergola, eventually the grape, or the hardy kiwi, sorry, is going to go over there. And so again, with that loganberry right down there, and with this one right there as well. And then I've got my passion flower just down there, which is really cool. Another blackcurrant bush there. Loads more ground cover. I mean, the ground cover has just gone crazy. So that's that. And then on to my main crops. So my Three Sisters is doing really well. I've got my beans right there. My first squash plant, she's gone absolutely wild. You know, that's a good 7 foot, which is amazing. The corn's doing really well, and so the beans. I've got some beans coming up on these dwarf purple beans. These are lovely, so I'm going to harvest them very soon. More beans there. There's my Hugelkultur. It's actually got quite dry, so I'm going to have to soak that, but we've got some rain on the way. So the daikon radish haven't come up, which is a bit of a shame, but that's okay. And then I've got my ponds which are yet to be filled in. I've got my calendula. This is the wild area. As you can see, the flowers have all taken off. My compost heap. Got my little insect hotel. I've just put that in there. And then round here, I've got obviously Nigella there, and more calendula, which is really cool. I had a volunteer poppy pop up. There's my little hedgehog, or the hedgehog house. So I just did that today. So hopefully hedgehogs will take up some residence. It might get a little bit hot in there. I might have to shade it off. My second compost heap. Usually in the morning I can see a couple of slow worms in there. So I'm really happy with that. And then my fruit bed. Obviously got my tayberry there. I've got 3 gooseberry bushes there. It's quite cool. One of them sends off red berries, the other one green. So that's really cool. I'll harvest them soon. And then I did plant some peas in here, but the heat just absolutely killed them. So I'm hoping these beans, I've got a mixture of Violetta climbing beans and dwarf purple beans as well. My quinoa's doing pretty well. A couple of them are quite small, but I'm sure they'll be okay soon. More bean plants. I just have to sort him out. There we go. and this quinoa is doing a lot better. As you can see, they're doing really well. More beans there, and the rest of the quinoa. And here's my bed that has got the buckwheat. As you can see, that's really taken off, and the squash are underneath there. Once that buckwheat kind of gets ready to chop down, chop and drop, the old squash will take over. Brilliant. So this is my plot again. It's only 154 square meters, and after many months of hard work, I've got it all sorted. So one last thing, this second pond here, I've decided to actually convert this to another hugelkultur, and what I'm probably going to do is plant something like ginger in there, because that will hopefully keep it contained, and it gets really, you know, this is probably one of the hottest parts of the allotment, so I can use the logs down there that I was going to use for the mushrooms, but they're not really ideal for mushrooms anymore. And there we have it.